Hi everyone, good evening, and I hope you, your family, and friends are all safe and are at home. Thank you for joining in this day two of the Azure Developer Conference. I really hope you've had a fantastic 2 days of intense learning and are looking forward to the workshops tomorrow. This conference has been a great outcome of a community of passionate developers, architects, designers, leaders coming together to execute this for all of us, just because of the love and passion they have for technology. It has always been my pleasure to be a part of this initiative and also the community itself and contribute in every little way that I can. My name is Aditee Rele. I lead cloud solutions for our partner ecosystem in India. And today I want to spend some time talking to you about technologies that have really helped us sail through the current pandemic times and the current trying times, really. If you take a moment to look around what's happening you, right? Everything has moved to virtual. Everything has moved remote. Whether it's banking, whether it's shopping, whether it's conferences like this, whether it's events, whether it's medicines, even schools, even grocery shopping, everything has now become digital. And this is a massive transformation from in-person and physical to remote and digital. The transformation wasn't easy. We call it remote everything. It wasn't easy at all. Satya said that in one of his keynotes that we've seen 2 years worth of digital transformation happening in 2 months. And quite frankly, that is the reality we experienced on the ground when the lockdown happened in mid-March. Uh, it was a time when most of the organizations who were not ready for remote environments or who did not give access to employees outside of their office premises or outside their firewalls, they went into panic mode. And they needed urgently the ability for employees working from home to be able to access corporate resources remotely. Most employees do not even have corporate laptops that they could take home. So, as technologists, all of us and our technology partners, which includes many of whom you are part of, had to get into top gear to help our customers sail through and respond to this crisis and bring their businesses back online with remote everything. The surge in demand for cloud infrastructure during that period has been absolutely unprecedented and significantly high. And of course, in addition to that, we also have the negative aspects of such things, wherein we saw a significant increase in cyber attacks, ranging from phishing attacks to very sophisticated identity thefts and so on and so forth. So essentially, two broad themes emerged. One was the need to navigate the now by activating and securing remote everything. And the second was around shaping the future by accelerating the adoption of digital technologies. To navigate the now, we had a plan in mind. The first thing we did was to ensure that people and teams were able to collaborate and communicate with each other seamlessly across organizational boundaries. Teams today has 115 million active users, and what is more interesting is also it has a platform for developers to integrate teams into line of business applications or even develop new applications on teams. The second thing we did was in this very highly dispersed remote workforce where identity and security was key, we ensured that Azure AD was deployed as a single identity plane, single control plane across the organization. What that meant for you, what that meant was really that we were able to activate single sign-on for all applications and all devices. And once you got single sign-on enabled by just registering our applications, you can actually govern who has control to what resources within the environment, irrespective of where they're connecting in from. The third thing we did was once our identity was set up, was to enable access to remote applications and devices and secure that access further beyond passwords with multi-factor authentication and conditional access. Multi-factor authentication, we know, saves almost 99.9% of identity thefts, and it is a great way to ensure that beyond secure authorization and authentication, beyond passwords, you can control exactly who has access to your environments. Conditional access also becomes supremely important in current scenarios. When you're working outside of your environment, there are policies you can put in place to say if the user is to understand the risk of the user's access. So for example, I'm in India today, I logged in, and then 5 minutes later I log in from let's say Africa. I have all the credentials, I've done everything right, yet it does not seem logical that a person might be able to do this a kind of an access from two geographically different countries. And so you can fix that using conditional access and the related policies. The fourth thing we did was then, once we've got our identity and access sorted out, is also to manage our devices from which we access this environment. So whether it is your own laptop or whether it is your mobile device, making sure that this access is secured using application management or device management policies is something that we enabled for our customers on an immediate basis. And finally, for those people who were not connecting via personal devices, we also enabled virtual desktops so that they could log in remotely into the corporate environments to make things happen. So as you realize, these are not new technologies. These are core infrastructure solutions that we are using to activate remote environments and remote access, and then securing that access for our customers and employees. Now that we've done that, let's talk through what are those technologies that will help us shape the future. In my mind, there are 6 imperatives that I think of when we talk about the next set of digital technologies and application architectures. So first is about cloud native architectures, right? Now, I know all of you are aware of the construct of what a typical cloud native architecture looks like, with microservices, containers, serverless, and so on and so forth. But it's important to understand that there has never been a better time to build a truly cloud native architecture than today. When you think of applications, you think about what is the true value that cloud is going to bring to the table for that application. And in addition to the scalability and agility, one of the fundamental reasons why you want to rethink your design principles or architecture principles to this is because of the cost optimizations that you get, both on the ops as well as on the infra pieces. So next time you envision or architect an application, or if you want to re-architect what you currently have, please think cloud native first. The second imperative I have in my mind is around AI. This is where, I like to divide AI into what happens at the UX layer and then what happens at the application layer. On the UX side is typically what cognitive services will give you, such as bots, voice translations, speech recognition, and so on and so forth. But on the application logic side is where it really becomes interesting. We want to really move from descriptive and diagnostic understanding of our data to more prescriptive and predictive understanding of our data. So personalization should be based on my let's say spend patterns in the past. When I say prescriptive, I need actions to take to ensure that a certain outcome is come from my business. So it is very interesting when you look at AI in these two aspects, and then start thinking about what is it that you're going to do with artificial intelligence within your applications. So that's my second imperative. The third one, top of my mind for me, is integration. We, more than ever today, we do not have the luxury of building siloed applications anymore. Every piece of logic that you build needs to integrate to either consume data or expose data. And that needs to happen in an extremely governed fashion. We cannot have APIs hanging about without knowing who's accessing those APIs and building applications through it. With critical line of business applications or critical applications like SAP, etc., moving to the cloud, developers like us have this opportunity to start looking at what SAP stores within and building applications on top of it. For that, you need connectors to get into SAP and bring things out. So the whole integration and API management is completely redefined in the world of the cloud, and we should start thinking about how to make our applications not closed, very open, and have the ability to consume and expose information as required with other applications. The fourth imperative in my mind is really about data. We've traditionally been very comfortable with relational data, but with high volume, high velocity data coming in, with non-structured data coming in, our fundamental philosophy of data needs to change significantly. To that effect, on Azure, we've done significant changes, such as brought in, consolidated the entire big data warehousing under what we call as Synapse Analytics or Cloud Scale Analytics. We've also done a lot of work with bringing in some things that were not native to us, such as NoSQL, such as MongoDB, such as Cassandra, such as MySQL, into the Azure ecosystem, giving developers the flexibility to choose what type of data store is required for your application, irrespective of the language or the framework that you're trying to use. This is extremely powerful, people, and I think it's very important for you to, next time when you think about an application architecture, really pay attention to what is the data that you're really interested in, and therefore what should be your data store for that application. The fifth impairment in my mind is really around operations. So, traditionally we've been building applications, and once the application is deployed, as developers, as architects, we don't really know what is happening within the apps. The scalability is managed by servers independent of whether the applications and so on and so forth. But today it is very, very important to figure out, especially in this world of elastic infinite scale, extremely important to figure out what exactly is happening within my application. And for that, you need tools for building in alerting, analyzing the application's performance without hindering the performance itself or without causing an additional load. And this you can achieve this using any operations management tool. On Azure, it's Azure Monitor, but an important element of the ops piece is to ensure that your application, that the operations is aware of your applications, and you're getting the right insights on how the application is being consumed by your end user. And finally, my sixth imperative is really about bringing to life this whole concept of citizen developers using a low-code platform like Power Platform. Low-code platforms are really, really enabling our users to be a lot more agile with the ability to create insights from the data, the ability to build their own applications, the ability to build their own workflows, and also build some chatbot engines. All of this is enabled without the fear of creating a shadow IT. And therefore, even the IT teams are very comfortable because they get information on the users, on the usage of these applications, the settings of these applications, and everything. So there is empowerment for the IT teams to manage and govern this entire environment, and there is empowerment for the business users to create applications they choose using the low-code, no-code platforms. Those are my six top of mind imperatives or technologies that will help us really shape the future and drive this whole digital transformation that we're talking about. You and I play a very, very important role in this transformation. All of the stuff that I talked about in the last couple of minutes is not going to happen unless you and I are ready to deliver this to our customers. So it's extremely important that you identify these technologies, build this using a whole bunch of learning resources that are available to you. So master your craft, stay current on your exams and certifications, make it a habit to sort of take a certification every couple of months once you've finished your learning. The second important piece is invest in community. There is no greater learning than in sharing the knowledge that you've acquired. And this community, the Azure Developer Conference, is a fantastic example of that. Every speaker, every organizing person, organizing committee member in the conference has basically build this so that they can share their learning with you. And I would really encourage you to become a part of the community. Obviously, gain recognition for yourself, but also build the right kind of network that you need to advance your technical career, and also increase the technical DNA of our country itself. Sharing and learning is probably the only way we can really take our technical quotient to the next level, tech intensity, as Satya likes to call it. And finally, it's extremely important that you apply what you learn. The next time you are looking at an application and you want to design it, think of how you would do it cloud first. Think of what is the innovation that you will do to ensure that things like elasticity, things like cross-geo experiences, things like AI are all taken into consideration for that particular use case. And with that, I really encourage you to be a part of some of these communities within your cities. Please join them. Please be active, and all the best in increasing your tech quotient. Thank you all for joining in, and I really hope you have a fantastic day 3 tomorrow with all the workshops. Thank you, and see you soon. Bye.